Um, I'm really honored to introduce a colleague, an incredible artist, producer. We've actually had the chance to travel to a few continents together, which is cool. And we're plotting and planning to go to other places as soon as, COVID relents and we can get on an airplane again.
Yeah.
Um, After graduating Berklee in 1999, Enrique Gonzalez Müller started his career as a music producer and engineer at the Plant Studio, where he worked with artists like Dave Matthews Band, Joe Satriani, Joan Baez, MC Hammer, DJ Quick, Les Claypools, and members of Metallica. In his home country of Venezuela, he produced many chart-topping albums for Caramelos de Cianuro, Desorden Público, and Vinila Versus, to name a few. I'm working on
Good
my Spanish, man.
pronunciation.
I'm getting there.
Jason.
Yeah,
Jason.
man.
Snappy
Um,
pronunciation. That's awesome.
in 2009, his collaboration with Los Amigos Invisibiles.
Invisibles.
Invisibles. See, this is the American accent that I've got to get over.
You know, we're coming together as one. We're learning together, Jason.
Thanks,
It's all
man. I
good.
appreciate this. Earned him a Latin Grammy Award, and for their album Commercial. And this collaboration actually later earned them a Grammy nomination in 2018 and another Latin Grammy win in 2020. Congratulations, sir. That's
Thank you.
fantastic. In
Thank you.
Italy, Enrique, he also produced and arranged and mixed for the albums for Dora, and they had a #1 hit with Teach Me Again for Elisa and Tina Turner. In the U.S., he's continued to work with Nine Inch Nails, Victor Wooten, the Kronos Quartet, Jason Newsted, and he's toured with Wynton Marsalis. So the diversity of the work that you've done is just stellar, man. In 2015, Enrique was awarded the Distinguished Faculty Award from Berklee for his innovative work as an educator. And in 2018, he became the program director for our Masters in Music Production for Berklee Online. Without further ado, sir, thank you for joining us, Enrique. It's great to have you here, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's always super weird to hear blah, 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 what you did. But I guess, yes, I did live all that stuff. Guys, everyone, I'm stoked, super happy to see all of you here. I see that the paging scrolls up to 7 windows, which is awesome. And we have a lot to cover today. So let me start with just jumping right in and telling you what I hope to achieve today, because it's going to require your participation. And when I mean your participation, it's your attention. I encourage you to be that person that sits in the front of the class and takes notes and be there. So gather your questions, et cetera, et cetera. But this is the order that I'd like to do. First, I'd like to tell you what we're doing in the grand scheme of things. Second, I want to describe what this worldwide production competition is going to be, because this is going to be materials that are going to inform a project that you're going to do, and then the very best will be reviewed and highlighted when we meet again. And then third, we'll jump into the content of it. So to start things off, let me just share my screen here really quick. And of course, we're doing, the name of this master class is called The Art of Music Production. Jason, actually, by the way, was the person who suggested this name. And when I started thinking of what are we going to do, what I hope to share with you is definitely not a video that goes, okay guys, welcome to my YouTube video. I'm going to show you how to get the fattest kick drum sound, and in 5 minutes you're going to be a producer. But rather I want to share with you guys the more difficult stuff, the things that require deeper philosophical thinking that then will inform all of those tools that will, how do you select the right kick drum sample? If we don't have the things that I hope to share with you today, it's just kind of inefficient work, I find. So let me tell you what this competition is going to be, because it'll continue giving you more details on what we're going to do, and then we'll jump right in. So if you can see my screen here, this is a very quick summary of the competition, which will also serve as a frame for what we're going to do. So our Berklee Global Partners Worldwide Production Competition, this is the scope and project. It's going to be for you to produce a commercially competitive record using the topics demonstrated in the Art of Music Production Masterclass, what we'll do today, Institutions and students, you guys, that participate will enter in a Berklee Global Partner worldwide project where the 10 best productions will be featured in a Berklee Global webpage, and then the top 3 will be reviewed by myself in the second masterclass. So what you will need to do is after you attend this first masterclass, all the producers will need to find one artist and one song to work with. And they will complete a production considering the following topics. Guys, this is everything we're going to see today. So I encourage you to take furious notes, because everything I'm going to tell you are the things that we're going to be seeing when we listen to your work and evaluate it. And these are kind of the rules of the road. So the first thing jumping in that I want to put to you is, what is the purpose of music? See, I told you it was going to get philosophical. So what is the purpose of music? The thing that I'd like to start with is actually play you guys a little bit of music, and then I'm going to send a poll that I want you to tell me, what do you think this song that I'm about to play for you, what is its purpose? So I will share my screen, and if somebody can quickly give me a thumbs up if you can hear this. Excellent. Can you hear me talk over it a little bit? So listen to the song.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn
And
it
in a
on.
moment, you're going to tell me,
Off from my city,
what is its
off from my
purpose?
home. We're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop.
I'm going to send it in a second, that poll. Be ready to put in your votes.
Goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. Ooh, it's something magical.
All right. Give you a
It's
couple
in
more
the air,
seconds
it's
for you
in
to
my
finish
blood,
quickly.
it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone.
Cool. So I'm going to end the poll now to keep things moving. But we show that 72% of you think the purpose of this song is to make you happy, to make you dance, and to help your mind take a break from the troubles of the world. Can you guys see how easy it was to assess what the purpose of this song was? The thing that I want to now share with you is this other song. And I'm not going to send a poll. I just want you to answer for yourselves. What is the purpose of this other piece of music? Now, there are two very different pieces of music. And note that my question was not, do you like it or not? My question is, can you assess what is the purpose of this piece of music? To me, in the grand scheme of things, the purpose of these two pieces of music is exactly the same. And the answer to me is that these two pieces of music are trying to make you feel something. They're trying to emote, they're trying to convey, they're trying to elicit emotion at the end of the day. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because, guys, if we don't have whatever we're going to produce, if we don't have a very focused idea of what that emotion is going to be, how could we ever choose, again, the kick drum sample or the snare sample? So here I'm going to play for you not a finished song, but rather a demo. And with this demo, I want you to try to answer the same question for yourself.
Blue skies above me, but I can't see a thing. 'Cause there's too many tears clouding my sun ever since you've been done.
So for this one, you might agree with me that the answer is not that focused. That the answer, unlike the other two, is a little bit more open to interpretation. That you hear it and you go, yeah, I kind of hear where it's going. It's your job as producers, guys, to give a focus. This is a demo. This is something that is starting. So for those of you that are producers, of course, all we're going to talk is right up your alley. But for those of you that are songwriters, what we're going to talk about is huge. For those of you that are musicians, the same, because everything we're trying to do is make sonic experiences focused, emotionally focused for your intended audience, for your artists, et cetera, et cetera. So now the next thing that I want to ask you is then, what is the purpose of a music producer, right? Because you see that the first song was produced, the first song produced, the second produced, and then the third is a demo. In comes a producer. Well, could you please tell me, why would the author of a piece of music ever need somebody to tell them how to express their piece of art? Why would they need it? I'm asking a rhetorical question, by the way, because if we started opening up the questions, we'll never end. So it's a question for myself that I'll answer. Sorry, guys. So the reason for a producer, in my opinion, the purpose of a music producer is to try to take something that is rough, like this demo, and assess what is its emotional objective and maximize it so that at the end of the day, when the process is done, the artist goes, wow, this is so much better than what I could have done by myself. And it really captures the soul of what I want to do. So now as we continue going from the super macro conceptual starting point and we get more and more detailed, let's talk about actually what a music producer does. And before we jump into the definition of it, I want to send you guys another quick little poll. And please try to answer it as fast as you can. My question in the poll is it a producer's job to always make an artist happy? Is that the job of a producer? So please answer it in your poll. Because, right, if our jobs as music producers is to maximize what is already there, and you're in the service of an artist and their expression, is it also our jobs as producers, or if you're an artist, is it the role of a producer to always make you happy? So here I see that most of you have answered. Ooh, I'm going to close it in 1, 2, 3. Check it out. Half of you think yes, half of you think no, straight down the middle. Let me tell you what I think. And never am I saying that I am the word. Let me now tell you what is the actual answer. But this is just what I think. I think A producer's job is not to make an artist happy all the time. I think the producer's job is to, at the end of the experience, to have again an artist be listen to their work and go, wow, this, I'm so well represented. You captured the essence of what I want to do, and it's above and beyond what I could have done by myself. So let me share with you then my personal definition of what a music producer is. For me, a music producer is the person ultimately responsible for determining and bringing together the musical, technological, managerial, and financial and psychological aspects of a recording in order to create a maximized, palpable presentation of a piece of music and the artist behind it, within the reality of their context. This took me 2 days to write. I kid you not, because it's so condensed and dense. So let's examine this carefully. And this is the part where I ask you to start kind of pulling back the curtain on thinking that a producer is just a person who opens up a DAW and programs beats. I'm talking about a 360-degree professional grade super pro producer. To me, it's the person ultimately responsible. Meaning, if it's awesome, great, you take the credit for it. But if it's awful, it's your fault. If the drummer brought the wrong snare, the bass player popped the string, the singer has a cold, it's your fault. You're responsible for everything. For what? Determining and bringing together. This means you need to know where you're going. And this is going to be a giant focus of us today. You need to determine what is it that you're trying to do so that you can assess what things you need. And then actually going and getting them in these realms. Musical, of course, but then technological. What resources do you need? Then managerial and financial. If you guys are working with, say, a record label or an investor, they're going to hand you X amount of money. And in return, you have to give them a product, and a product that is viable. Managerial means, oh, we're rehearsing at 2. We're only doing the rhythm section in this rehearsal space, all of those things. And then obviously psychological. And this is something that producers are leaders. They put a vibe in the room and they guide it. To wrap this up quickly, of course, we're making a recording. So we need to make something palpable that is maximized. And this piece of music doesn't only represent itself, but also, guys, when you choose this guitar sound or you chop the bridge in half, this is also representing the artist. All of this within the reality of your context. Do you have a month and $2,000? Do you have 2 days and $12? You still need to make something awesome. Finally, since this is my personal definition, I'll add that this leader should have an emotional and an aesthetic goal. In other words, a clear vision of what this music will eventually feel and sound like. This person should also strive to get all of the collaborators involved in the project to the finish line in a healthy mental and physical manner. So basically, we need to know where we're going in order to effectively do it. Guys, it's a lot of information, right? It is. Now, I want to start turning the page, and I'm certain that you guys are having a lot of thoughts and ideas that are coming forward, and I just want you to please capture them. Capture all these questions, and we'll get to them in a bit. The next thing I want to do to set us up to start listening to a little bit more music and really working on it is I want to kind of put a filter on how I think producers think. Because producers are not normal humans. Breaking news. Artists are not normal humans. Breaking news. Musicians are not your average humans either. They're a very specific, unique breed. The thing about producers, like say movie directors, is that their jobs are kind of elusive. You know, yeah, movie director, but what do they really do? I want to share with you the ways in which I think a music producer thinks. I think a professional music producer splits their brains into two very different and kind of opposing, which is a little crazy, states of mind. Two very different things, and we must be able to inhabit one fully and then zoom out and go right into the other and have these two, almost two people inside of you have conversations. The first one is a caring psychologist to the artist. A producer must be a caring psychologist to the artist. Go in, know who they are, understand what their songs are about, what their life is like, because we're eventually going to work on their babies. So we need to know who they are and earn their trust. In the same category or in the similar category is the same way we have this amount of detail, we also have to have an expertly analytical, detailed and calculating crafts, business aware person state of mind. We need to be able to go in and put your hands on the tools. You need to be able to record things. You need to be able to mix them. You need to be able to know what is the culture around you like, so that can inform what you're doing. Now, for a completely different state of mind, is I find that contrastingly, we also need to be the defenders of the artist's intended audience. What does this mean? Guys, when you make music, who are you really making music for? Because we could say the artist, but are you only making music for the artist? If your honest hope is to make music that is going to move and conquer the hearts of strangers, people that you've never met, that's your honest hope, you need to think of them. And in this way, you need to divorce yourself. I ask you to divorce yourself from the emotional ties of, oh, the artist is my friend, I love them so much, blah, blah, blah. You need to listen to this piece of music and go, yeah, this is not super awesome about it. This is super great about it. And then be able to put yourselves in the shoes of their intended audience. To wrap things up quickly, this necessitates that we also embody a common denominator, instinctual music lover brain. So you guys see that this is very contrasting. Two different mindsets to approach something. This one is huge. This one, the second one, is really tough to do because it asks you to divorce yourself emotionally from the people that you're working with. It asks you to defend the experience of strangers, and you need to know who these strangers are. So I'll give you 2 seconds to chew on that one because it's a little bit and it's tough, and I think it's way, way, way easier said than done. So I'll take a breath, especially me, because I've been talking about 3 million kilometers an hour. Oh, see? You just saw my Venezuelan-ness come out. Kilometers. Yeah, metric
Kilometers.
system.
What are you doing, man?
I know. Let me bring it back. I live in Boston, miles an hour.
We need pounds here.
Exactly. So now I'm going to give you a kilo of information. Are you guys ready for a kilo and a half of information on the next chapter, which is choosing a single from the artist repertoire? So now macro philosophical stuff. Let's start really focusing in on, let's go choose a song and start working on it. When we choose a single, what is a single to begin with? A single to me is when you have an album per se, you have cuts, songs that are strong and cool. You have the one weird song in there that shows you that the artist can also do this stuff. And then you have the singles, typically 2 or 3 in an album. These are these very focused opportunities for you to put forth the best foot, because you imagine that you only have one shot and you really need to make it count. So before I talk a little bit into that, I'm going to launch one last poll. And guys, if you can quickly answer the following question. In the past, or think of perhaps in the future, when you've chosen what songs you'll eventually produce for an artist, or yourself, have you first considered how this new production will fit with their previous repertoire? How is the song you're about to do actually connect to their previous body of work? And how will it affect their future careers? And I'm going to ask you to be brutally honest. Not, I think that this is what should happen. I'm asking you, honestly, have you done this? And it's not a judgment thing. I'm just curious about what has been your experience in the past. So I'll give you another 10 seconds. Okay, and I'm closing it in 3, 2, 1. All right. So 63% of you say yes, 37% of you say no. In my experience at Berklee, I find that my students here on campus and also on Berklee Online, I would say that honestly, it's about 90% they do not. They just find whatever song is cool and they're happy to do the cool songs. Typically, the cool new song, the last song that I wrote because I'm so excited about it, and that's what they do. So the thing that I'm going to ask us to consider, Jose Roberto Ponce Vargas is nodding no. You know what I mean. You know, we have to understand that this piece of music that we're going to be working on and spending so much effort on needs to represent the artist, both what came before and what you're leading them towards. Now, the thing that is really tough is to do this with a new artist, with a young artist. So I'm going to share my screen again with you, and I would like to play for you, actually first show you kind of the things that I'm looking for when I choose a single, which is the thing you're going to have to do for the competition part of this. So I'm going to share my desktop again, and I already mentioned what is a single and choosing one from the artist repertoire. These are the things that I look for. 1, memorability. Something that when you listen to it, it sticks to your bones. It's catchy, it's sticky, it's like sushi rice. If it lands on your finger, you're like, get away from me, sushi rice. If you can't, it's just stuck on you. The next thing, by the way, if I talk about weird food metaphors, is because I'm thinking about food about 25 hours of the day. So pardon me if I continue to talk about food from this point forward. Second thing, a single has to have unique elements. Why? Give the intended audience compelling reasons to listen to your song and production. If it's just good enough, why would anybody care? Honestly, would you rather give your precious time and money to okay and good enough or excellent and unique? Please be honest with me. Answer this question for yourself. If I give you 2 slices of pizza and they're both $1, and I tell you this one is okay, it's pretty good, and this one is excellent and unique, which one are you going to get? So if you go to iTunes and every song is $1, we better make something that is competitive, right? And lastly, for me, if the song is narrative driven, meaning it has lyrics and it's about a story, it needs to have strong songwriting. Now, there are some songs that are not about the songwriting, right? If you say, do, 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 yo, baby, baby, do, baby, baby, do, do, baby. It's not about the lyrics, it's about the aesthetics and how cool it sounds. But if it's about the narrative, strong songwriting. Now, remember that we started when we did this, I played you the Justin Timberlake song, that Pantera track, and then I played you this demo.
Blue skies above me.
This artist, Lindy Hoshikawa, is an artist we're going to be working with for the rest of this masterclass. And here I want to just very quickly play you a few seconds of her demos because we need to go find a single. So of course, this takes a lot of time because we need to really, really dig in for these aspects. But I'm only going to play you a second of each of a few so that you can kind of get in your gut, does something jump out at you or not quite? So here we go.
Blue skies above me, but I can't see a thing.
Next song.
Time goes on, day by day. Things change, they grow, they flow and pass away. But here I am.
And next, right? I'm going to ask you to also be honest with the way that you actually consume music, of music that you don't know. If you go to Spotify and there's a song that you don't like, you give it maybe 12 seconds and then you're off to the next one. So with that in mind, Japanese.
Open skies should help clear this smell of smoke hovering. Or am I still standing too close to you?
So everyone, you see that this is not easy. You see that a lot of these songs are kind of somewhat similar. And I don't mean to be insensitive. I'm just being honest with you and sharing how my brain works. When I listen to this and I'm trying to find a single with all this stuff, I'm getting this kind of overall feeling that this artist sounds very normal to me. Sounds very kind of, we've heard this before. So my job as a producer is to bring this to this level. Again, maximize stuff. Now, if this is tough, I just want to play for you quickly established artists and kind of very quickly play for you what is a single versus what is a cut so you can kind of feel it in your bones, and then I'll just leave that seed planted so you can continue. So to just further enclose the topic of finding a single is I'd like for us to continue looking at Justin Timberlake for a moment. And the reason why is because this guy in 2013 came out with 2 albums called the 2020 Experience that I think are, 1, awesome, and 2, he put out a record of the strong songs and then a record of the not so strong songs, but that were still awesome. And here, if I have a playlist of both discs. But what I want to show you first is if we quickly go to, say, Spotify. Jason, can you give me a thumbs up that you're seeing all of this okay? Thank you. Cool. So if we come here and study an established artist like Justin Timberlake, you go to Spotify plays and you see that, oh, Can't Stop the Feeling has 1 squillion, trillion, bajillion plays. And then all the songs don't even come close. But it seems like, oh, the second one is Mirrors. If we go and do a little bit of research, we find that on 2013, the 10 tracks received a combined 8.6 million US streams, et cetera, and here were the most popular ones. So Suit and Tie being the most popular one, and then, and Mirrors is the second one. So what I'd like to do is play for you 2 seconds of Can't Stop the Feeling, a few seconds of Suit and Tie and Mirrors as the other singles, and then I'm gonna just jump to disc 2 and play you any one of these. And I want you to try to feel in your bones this that I'm talking about, because this is your first task, to go find an artist that is awesome and then find a single that is unique and worthwhile for the intended artist. So here's a second of Can't Stop the Feeling. Try to get this feeling that I spoke about this criteria. Here we go.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops.
Woo! I'm gonna play you a couple seconds of the next singles.
I be on my suit and tie shit, tie shit, tie. I be on my suit and tie shit, tie shit. Can I show you a few things? A few things, a few things. Little baby, 'cause I be on my suit and tie shit, tie shit. Check it. I be on my suit and tie shit, tie shit. Let me show you a few things. Let me show you a few things.
Wait a minute. You ready, JT?
I can't wait till I get you on the floor, good looking. Hey, going hot, so hot, just like an oven. And I'll burn myself, I just had to touch it. But it's so fine, and it's all mine. Hey, baby.
And now a few seconds of the last single on that record.
Aren't you something to admire? 'Cause you shine at something like a mirror, and I can't help but notice you reflect in this heart of mine. If you ever feel alone and the glare makes me hard to find, just know that I'm always very loud on the other side. 'Cause with your hand in my hand and a pocket full of soul, I can tell you there's no place we couldn't go. Just put your hand on the past, I'll be trying to pull you through. You just gotta be strong. I don't wanna lose you now. I'm looking right at the other half of me. The biggest see the sand in my heart is the space and now you're home. Show me how to fight now.
I love this song. Now I'm going to play for you any song off of the second record, and in your bones, that thing, see if you find a difference between what was deemed a single and not.
Bittersweet thing, could this be a dream? Or just a same nightmare that keeps me awake? Feel it in my brain, tall shot of pain. Pour a little out now for the love that we made. I feel it in the morning, you're still here in the morning.
And it continues to kind of ramble, I'm sure. So guys, I'm not really asking because we need to move forward and it's a million of us today, which is awesome. But I feel it. I feel that the singles have this, again, memorability, uniqueness to it. And this other one is a super cool track, but it's not as strong. It just kind of takes a while for it to get going. So again, I'm going to ask you guys to go to your artists and be ruthless, as well as see where they're coming from, et cetera, et cetera. I hope that this is making sense. I know we're kind of going a mile a minute because, like I said to you guys, my hope is to plant seeds. My hope is for you to get all of this information that hopefully you're capturing and making notes on, so that then you can continue to develop them later. let's turn the page to and really start listening to music now and kind of building something similar to what you're going to do about defining artist identity and defining a production identity. So when I play you Justin Timberlake, you go, yeah, dude's awesome. I can see his image, I can see his message, I can hear the sounds of his music. But what happens when you're dealing with an indie artist? That artist identity is not fully formed. So you might be recording, let's say, a friend, and they're going, rang, ching, 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 chicka, chicka, rang. I have feelings, rang, chang, and you're going, aha, you're my friend, I love you to death. But if I really think in the general sense of the world, this is very bland. If we ask them, hey, do you have an identity? Of course they're going to answer, of course I do. And then if you try to write about it, it might be something to the effect of, Jimmy is an artist from Kentucky. He writes heartfelt songs in the country genre, drawing from his life experiences, which is all true. But it also says nothing. And we've heard a million, trillion, bajillion artists like this. So our job, especially with young upcoming artists, is to help form artist identity. This is what I mean. We need to help define artist identity and why. If we're starting from scratch, I ask you to find artist references. This means we need to determine what genres your music is, your production, this artist is going to be in, and what is their intended audience. So if you're working with Jimmy, who's a songwriter country from Kentucky, we need to be able to find, if Jimmy was going to go on tour, what are 3 artists that he would go on tour with that would make a really cohesive package that makes sense. So go find, for you guys, those 3 awesome artists that are cohesive and focused. And then as you do this, we have to keep in mind that when you're building an artist identity, you're also striving to be unique and worthwhile. Because if, for example, you go and let's say that we're working with a pop artist. So Jimmy just became pop. Jimmy is doing pop, and it's Taylor Swift is one of the references. Billie Eilish is another reference, and Ariana Grande is another reference. If you're just going to make a copy of any of those, who would care about a watered down copy of Ariana Grande and Taylor Swift and Billie Eilish? So as we find a community and also competition, we need to keep in mind that we should also try to offer something new. And then separately is defining a production identity. What I mean by this is at the end of the day, when you hit play, it's going to sound like something. Your production is going to have an aesthetic. And what I'm asking you to do is to find references that you can go back to and say, ooh, you know, for the sound of my production, I love the drums from this production and the vocal treatment from this production and the tribal percussion of this other production. And the cool thing about this is that while this I find needs to be kind of cohesive and focused, this can be super creative because you guys can start mixing and matching things from even genres that don't go together. So of course we have to check the boxes, right? Pop has a vocabulary. Country has a vocabulary. Cumbia and vallenato has a vocabulary. But once those boxes are checked, push them a bit. So hopefully that makes sense. And what I'd like to do now for you is let's dig in deeper with this artist, Lindy Hoshikawa. And what I want to show you is just a quick snapshot of who she was when I met her, okay? So try to put yourself in the shoes of you're finding a local artist. What do we find? What do we work towards? So here, let me share my screen, and this is Lindy's website. So if we see Lindy, I want you to just see if you get a very focused, potent, unique feeling from her or could it improve a bit? Let's go to her bio. Internet. There you go. So we're not going to read it, but you kind of see the picture. If we go to her music and maybe see her playing a little bit, we're just getting a vibe. And here she's going to be in Okay, in 2 seconds, and again, I'm not being insensitive, but rather sharing with you my candid opinion, is that she looks very normal to me. So it is my job to raise her. It's like I go to the ice cream store and please give me vanilla. Like, do you have pistachio maybe, or rum raisin? My job is to try to maximize her, maximize what she's trying to say. So seeing this, now what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to play you. I'm going to open up a Pro Tools session. Jason, if you wouldn't mind, can you give me a thumbs up again if you can hear this? Thank you. So dear everyone, here we're going to start working. I've been doing a lot of talking, and it's kind of laying the ground for the work that's about to happen. As I said in the beginning, my hope is to plant seeds. And I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to show you what goes into the work. This is, at least in my experience, the deep professional level, not hobbyist, not amateur level work we have to do. So what I'm going to do now is play you the entire demo of that song. The song is called Blue Skies, and I want you to please write down the following, capture the following as it goes down. I want you to please try to listen to what her artist identity is, and then try to think what her identity could be focused and maximized to be. As you consider both artistic references, so people that are going to be in the community that we want, and then production references, kind of the aesthetic, the sound of the competition song that you will be about to produce. So it's going through that same exercise. Once we're done listening to this entire song, of course, every one of you is going to have a slightly different idea. I will show you mine and my thought process. Does that make sense? Just people nod if it makes sense. Yes. Vicente Size gives me a mono thumbs up. A stereo bit of horns. I think we're doing okay. I think you guys get it. So here we go. Again, this is Lindy Hoshikawa's raw demo of Blue Skies. This is exactly what she thought was the best rendition of this piece of music. And then we're going to work on it. Here we go.
Blue skies above me, but I can't see a thing, 'cause there's too many tears clouding my sun ever since we've been done. Gray skies are coming, but that don't mean a thing.
Oh no, but that don't mean a thing. Stand by. Come on, Pro Tools. It's not very happy. Guys, I might have to restart this. Just 1 second. Sorry about this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to restart. So for now, just even observe the thoughts that you've gathered already? Just what are the things that you're finding there that you go, this is redeeming, this is what's cool about her, this is, I think, very cliche, we've heard this before, et cetera, et cetera. So as I am quickly launching Pro Tools again, and if not, I'll just play you the files, but Pro Tools start. Let me tell you as this launches what's going to happen later so we can expedite. Once this plays through, I'm going to play for you 3 or 4 artist references that I love, that I, after doing a lot of work, were the ones that I settled on, which are going to give shape to the final product. So let's see if this behaves now. Almost. I just need to set up the playback engine. Maybe it's because it's about 112 degrees in my house, and maybe the computer, you guys can't see it because Zoom helps, but it's hot in here. Let's see.
For this
Can you guys hear it okay?
cold heart,
Party on.
ever since we fell apart, nothing's been the same. Baby, I can't understand. You say you have to be a man and leave me. Dark clouds in view, still thinking of you. What does one do when their lover is through?
Really? Guys, pardon me. Guys, I apologize. I just want to check something really quick. Hopefully this will be nicer. Such a bummer. Okay, guys, I'm gonna have to give me 30 seconds of patience so I can do just a couple of things here to try. And if not, we will, as engineers that we are, we will shift gears and try something different altogether. I'm just gonna close some applications here real quick. I think I might be running too many things at once. And it is also, I'm actually going to turn on the fan because it's a little bit excruciating over here. Yeah.
No worries, man. It's
And this might give us a little break because I feel like, girl, you're drinking from
the fire hose.
the fire hose.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. You guys can hear the fan though, right? You can hear it go.
Not really at all, man. It's actually,
Really?
no, you're crystal clear, so it's all good.
Okay. This might help. Fingers crossed.
You need the
All right.
fan plug-in for Pro Tools, man.
I do. I do. I need a sponsorship for one of those. Here we go.
There we go.
Blue skies above me, but that don't mean a thing. All I need is some rain to wash far away all these thoughts of you.
So there we have her demo. And the thing that I do immediately is start going through my record collection and through even genre charts and things like this to try to find references. Now I'm going to play for you these 4 references super quickly. one of the things that I find is that, you remember how I was saying that narrative is really important when it's the songwriting that is kind of the key feature, right? The thing that I find is that the songwriting is kind of boring. Blue skies above me, we've heard this stuff before. So then my job is to try to make the songwriting the best I can, but the rubber band only stretches so far. So if the rubber band only stretches so far, then it's like saying, hey, I'm gonna invite you to my house for dinner. Oh, but I only have pasta, cheese, and butter. Well, you can just go, oh, that I don't have what I wanted to serve you, or I can make an awesome meal with what I have. So knowing that the rubber band stretches so far in the songwriting, then the emphasis goes onto the aesthetics, onto the sound, so that the experience becomes something worthwhile. It's like saying, are you watching Transformers Part 4, where you know it's not really about the story, but about the explosions and this, that, and whatever? Or are you watching a more art house film that is more about the narrative? So we need to decide. Here, I'm kind of thinking that we need the aesthetics to kind of save the day a little bit. So I'm going to play for you my artist references. The first one is this song by Hugh Laurie. So this to me is an artist reference, something in the community.
Just remember me, darling, when I'm in 6 feet of cold, cold ground.
But when I hear this, do I get excited? Is it unique?
Just remember me, darling.
To tell you the truth, and I'm just going to cut it short, I think that this would be a great artist reference, meaning if my artist was going to go on tour with Hugh Laurie, it would probably be a cohesive bill. But as far as a production reference, I think it's too normal. I need something that has more personality. So let me play for you these other ones that inform my aesthetic decisions. Here is The Voice at the End of the Line by M. Ward.
It was my luck in an unlucky bed. Could you clear?
Listen to the sounds, the vocals.
Could you cancel my day?
The piano.
When I've spent my life trying to make up my mind, and now all I want is a voice at the end of the line.
So for me, when I hear this, I go, oh, this is so cool, because that, the little bit of distortion on the vocals, the delay and the reverb, the piano being a little out of tune, all of those things give it so much personality. And this is what I feel that I need to inject into mine. Let me play you a couple of others really quickly. This is The Bad in Each Other by Feist. Listen to how it's still very organic, it's very acoustic, but it's also distorted and aggressive. Here it is. How fat the low end is. It's so, to me, it's almost like heavy metal. Dong. It feels like it has this royalty, heavy, oppressing feeling to it that I love. And it kind of counteracts how her vocals are so soft and up top. And here, so these two that I played for you, the last two are my aesthetic references, and they're also artist references. They're both. If my artist was going to go on tour, this would be 3 great artists. Now I'm going to play one last for you very quickly that is not an artist reference, but it is a aesthetic reference. The reason why it's not an artist reference is because this artist, Saint Vincent, if we go here super quick and go Saint Vincent musician and we look at her, this is not really the aesthetic we're going for. Meaning Lindy is not going to go on tour with Saint Vincent. They're kind of two different species almost. But I do love the sound of this production that I'm going to borrow things from.
I've had good times with some bad guys. I've thrown rocks, then hit both my arms.
You hear that the vocals are doubled and the guitars have a lot of reverb and they're really wide.
I don't know what good it serves.
Kind of dreamy, almost drunk in some points.
Or in my personal
And then
dirt.
metal.
But I don't wanna be a cheerleader no more.
Okay. People out there, just nod and be honest. Is this starting to make sense? Kind of how we are aligning the compass, if you will, right? So I don't know if you guys feel this, but when I listen to this, I get both very excited and I also get very intimidated because now I'm seeing that, oh, the standard of the world is here and my artist is kind of here. So I hope that you join me in feeling intimidated, but if what we want to do is for real, this is what we're doing. So now the next thing that I want to show you, and we're going to work on this song and get it to, by the way, now that we have this, we're eventually going to get it so that you can hear what the master final release to the world version was. In order to do that, I need to turn the page and talk to us about pre-production and production. Guys, I just had a little glitch here. Jason, Ray, can you guys give me a thumbs up if you can see my thank you? So then our next steps are going to be pre-production and production. Your next steps in doing this competition thing are going to be pre-production and production. Or production, like this one. Yeah, college professor writing right here. Production. You heard it here first. That's right. Sorry about that. I'm going to ask you guys to start with a simple demo, just like I showed you. And then the next thing, which is really tough, is from that demo, I'm going to ask you all to sit and before touching the first note, before putting your hands on your instrument or on your keyboard, before doing anything, I want you to envision the whole production in your head. All of it. So I'm asking you to go through this experience with me, to, when you're working on your song, imagine that you're making a movie and you're seeing the script, but then you need to go make a storyboard for the movie. You need to go, okay, it's the story of these two guys that come in and have a fight, and then at the end of the day, they figure out they're brothers or something. So yes, that's cool on the page, and we know we have these two people and they're gonna just show up and do something. I'm asking you to literally write down, the first one comes in from that door, walking slowly with a limp, dressed this specific way, taking 3 steps, stopping, turning, and a little bit of drool comes out of the mouth. Ugh. I want you to envision all of those details. And those details I'm going to ask you, which at the end of the day are going to take into account aesthetics, genre, which you already covered, overall feel, kind of genre derivatives, and all of the arrangement details using the tools of the producer. And this is the last thing that I want to share with you guys. What are the tools of the producer? this is perhaps the most tangible part of the tools we're going to use today. This is what I deem are the tools of the producer. If we think of as producers, what do we have at our disposal? What can we affect? Songwriting elements, arrangement elements, and aesthetic elements. As producers, we have all of this. As songwriters, we have this. We also obviously can have a say in these things as well. But as producers, we are responsible for everything. So I want to have you guys divide this into these three families. And for example, under songwriting, it is your duty and responsibility to make the lyrics the best that they can be, as well as the melodic contour, the harmony, the chords, literally, the structure of the song, the duration of each section of the structure of the song, the tempo. You need to decide if the tempo chosen that the artist is playing is actually the thing that's going to give it the most impact or not. Key. And then an arrangement, things like rhythmic patterns. If we have this song here, and we have this.
Blue skies above me.
And we go to this other section.
There's too many tears clouding my sun.
Do you think there's going to be a difference in emotion if it's 3, 4, doom, doom, bra, doom, doom, bra, versus 3, 4, choo, 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 very different emotion. How about if it was instead of rhythmic patterns, it's going to be, instead of rhythmic subdivisions, it's rhythmic patterns and subdivisions as syncopated or not. Totally different feel. Same for instrumental note range dynamics. And then we turn over to aesthetics. So guys, if you feel like I'm going a little fast, is because I wish we had 4 hours, but we're bound to this. And my hope is just to plant seeds. Finally, in aesthetics, you guys have control over the frequency extension. If something sounds like this and you're recording your vocals like this, it feels very different than if you record your vocals like this. So the frequency extension, how bright or low or mid-rangey and basal it is, affect how you feel. The same way that panning does, spatial depth, if something is far or close to you, dynamics, quiet or loud, sound envelope, if it's short or long, is it ba, or is it bo, ba, et cetera, and then obviously audio processing, distortion, et cetera, et cetera. So to this point, I'm going to show you lastly what I do to really start working on it to get you guys started. For my paranoia, Ray, Jason, if you guys can confirm that Pro Tools is still a thing. Ray, you can hear it? Thank you. So guys, the first thing that I do is put the demo in and I analyze the form of the song. So I'm going with structure first. And you see here that I have the intro. I have, then there's an A1, a B1, A repeats again, B2, C, D, et cetera, et cetera. This is the structure of the song. And then the next thing that I do is when I listen, like you guys did now, remember that I asked you to write things down? Hopefully you wrote, this is really cool, this is not so cool, here I'm getting bored, here I need more information. This will then determine how you're going to work with the structure. So this that you see below is the new edited demo. So what is up top is the raw demo, and then what is below is me following my notes on how I feel, and this very kind of instinctual emotional reactions told me that the intro is too long and it makes it boring. That A1 felt too short, like it was starting to tell me a story and then it moved over too quickly to something else. So here what I've done is I've recorded the demo again with the structure, of course, after a lot of experimenting and stuff. And also this demo is at about 68 BPM, and now I've recorded this to a click, to a steady 70 BPM.
Blue skies above me, but I can't see a thing.
Here, I need to write in new lyrics that I haven't written yet. So this is just a placeholder that I'm going to work on, and I want you to feel the flow of...
'Cause there's too many tears clouding my sun ever since you've been done.
And then this flows into...
Gray skies are coming, but that don't mean a thing for this gray and cold heart.
So you're seeing how, after all of the work, for me at least, the story flows so much better than this super long intro here. The pulse feels a little bit more sturdy. And again, this is me just using, in this case, structure, the duration of each section, and tempo as tools, because the tempo felt a little too slow and it made it boring. So I'm using this as a tool. The duration of each section is allowing me to tell a story, structure, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to continue to play this for you. And I want you to try to do the following. I want you to listen to the next sections that are going to come up. And I want you to try to assess, is this part a climax of the song? Is it a super release part of the song, or is it more of an intimate, tense part of the song? And so, what rhythmic patterns and rhythmic subdivisions would I dream up that would maximize those feelings that I'm going for? So I'm just gonna let's play through the solo and try to do that exercise. Here we go.
Gray and cold heart, ever since we fell apart, nothing's been the same. Baby, I can't understand why you had to be a man and leave me.
We need to write new lyrics here. See if you can kind of feel what beat will help the emotion you want, and then how that beat can change to support this other emotion.
Dark skies in view, still thinking of you. What does one do when their lover is through?
And this is eventually going to be a solo, not just a reintro. Okay, so in the interest of time, and again, my hope and job is to plant seeds, because it's a lot of information, I know. But I want you to please, if you'd like, take a snapshot of this, take a screenshot of this so that you can get all of these tools. Because I'm going to ask you to look at your lyrics. I'm going to ask you to look at your melodic contour, harmony, structure, et cetera, and find if, for example, this part of the song is boring. It's feeling boring to me. You need to be able to answer why. And the answer is going to be one of these. So this is going to help you troubleshoot. I want the chorus to really be dancey. It's not dancey enough. Why? It doesn't explode. The answer might be because of the harmony. The answer might be because of the rhythmic patterns. The answer might be because of the frequency extension. So now, in light of time, I'm going to play you guys the master. I'm going to play you the final version for the song. And through it, I want you to see how, just don't try to listen to it passively as a music lover, but see how the different decisions, starting with that big macro kind of aesthetic artist reference thing, is pushing what I want to say emotionally. I'm just gonna, because it's gonna be a lot, of course, listen to harmony. So listen to what things are dissonant versus consonant. Listen to the rhythmic patterns and the rhythmic subdivisions, how the drums and the percussion are delineating the emotion of each section. And then the lyrics were changed a little bit. So if you just listen to those, I think you'll be able to, because it's a lot of information, I think it'll be enough. So here at the bottom is the very master, and here we are. So here is Blue Skies, later Blue Gray by Lindy Hoshikawa.
Blue skies above me, but I can't see a thing. Mississippi drank so slowly, murky warm on my skin, just like all of these tears, cloud in my soul. Ever since you've been done, gray skies are coming, but that don't mean a thing for this gray and cold heart. Ever since we fell apart, nothing's been the same. Baby, I can't understand why you had to be a man.
What a bummer, guys. So sorry. If this hiccups again, I'll just play it from iTunes. Yep, here we go, iTunes. Stand by. Here we go.
Baby, I can't understand why you had to be a man. Dirty water stained on the riverbanks, drenched in tears. Dark skies and you, still thinking of you. What does one do when their lover is through? Blue skies above me. Oh, but that don't mean a thing, no. 'Cause all I need is some rain to wash away all these thoughts of you.
And there we go. So that's the final master of it. And thank you, Jorge. My question to you guys is not, do you specifically like it or not? But my question is, if we really honestly open our hearts and our minds to what the artist is trying to say, and we see where we started and we see where we ended up, do we feel that by our participation and collaboration with them, we maximized, we heightened their expression? And if the answer is yes, then I think we are very successful. So guys, this concludes part one of our master class, which as you see has been chock full of information, and I wish that I could see you guys to see if you're all still alive and doing well. I hope so. I see some of the faces out there. It's a lot of information, I know. But with this, in the last few minutes that we have, any questions that you might have, any other things you'd like to explore, I'm also happy to revisit anything if you want to listen to things specifically, but let's open it up. Ray, Jason, I don't know if you guys want to moderate what questions perhaps we go over.
Yeah, sure. So right now we have a couple of questions in the chat window. Let me read this for you. So Camilo asks, she wants to know how to find the principal emotion of the song to focus on.
Excellent. So with songs that don't have a lot of focus, what I typically do, and guys, by the way, when I'm saying all these things, I'm not saying that, oh, here is the word, this is how it's done, but rather I'm just sharing with you my discoveries along the way. So I'm not saying that this is how it is, but I just hope that the things that I share are useful from my experience. So Camilo, for me, it's when I see something that doesn't have a lot of focus, I first need to have a conversation with the artist. And I need to ask of them, what is it that you're trying to do? But as I said when we started, I try to divide that from the, if I listen to it, what do I think? And if it's unfocused, it is my job to then focus it. So even though I'm trying to do the best for my artist, it is impossible for me not to have a personality. It's impossible for you guys not to have your own voice and your own sensitivity. And if, let's say, Valeria, if I was to be producing you, so Valeria is part of the team here with us. So if I was, and she's an awesome singer, if I was to go, if Valeria would ask me to go produce her, I would do my best to try to find who she is. But we have to honor that she called me. She didn't call this other dude, she called me. So then I need to bring also 100% of my sensibilities trying to represent her. Camilo, I hope this answers the question. Maybe another one.
Yeah, we have another one from Thomas. Says, so all these changes actually making for the song.
Yeah.
How do we make sure she or he doesn't feel like we're taking over the whole song?
Totally. And I said something that is super crucial in the very, very, very beginning, which is this. And here, I'm just going to get closer to the laptop for emphasis. You guys ready? You need to earn your artist's trust. You need to earn it. Imagine if you have a baby and you gave birth to this baby and you've lived for it for a while, and then you hand it over to somebody and go, can you please dress it for me and help me raise this kid? You're not going to turn over the baby to anyone. You need to trust the person. And then the decisions are not only trust the person, but also have an agreement of what you're trying to do. So that then whatever ideas you have, like I'm going to cut the intro all the way, it's not my idea. It's me trying to come up with something that gets us closer to our agreed objectives, knowing that there's trust. So Thomas, I hope this answers the question.
Cool. This is one quick question for some of the music the production software recommendation.
Sure.
Any preferred kind of the software or video and also audio editing software or production software?
Really, there's a million things out there. there are better tools. You know, if I wanted to open up a grapefruit, I would use this knife. But if I tried to eat fish, I'm not going to cut fish with this knife. It's not going to work. But for grapefruit, it's going to be awesome. So if I'm doing, say, very specific audio editing of acoustic stuff that I need to get into the sample and move, it's great that I'm pointing this in my face. Pro Tools is probably going to be better. But if I'm doing electronic music, Ableton Live might be better. If I'm performing live, Ableton Live is probably going to be a lot better. So it's just different. So I don't have any recommendations, but the big hitters are Pro Tools, Logic, Ableton Live. There are others, but those to me are sturdy. Me, I'm a Pro Tools person because I'm mostly cutting grapefruits all the time. How about the next one?
We have one more, a couple more actually. Diego asks, would you change the principal instrument, for example, the guitar at this time, of the artist to achieve the emotion of the song?
Yes. Unless it's not appropriate. So I just totally gave you two psychotic answers because it's two different things. But this is what I think. If it's part of an artist's identity to be behind the guitar and the record that we make has no guitar anywhere, it's going to be a little weird. But if there's not that tie, we can explore whatever. So there's a band that, if you guys are curious, there's a band, an indie band from Oakland, California, when I used to live in San Francisco for many years, called HIJK, like the 4 letters, HIJK. And we made this album called The Pen and the Letter. And it was a trio, bass, guitar, drums, 2 singers. And the album sounds like an explosion of instruments, from auto harps to trumpets to saws to a whole mess of super fun stuff. And it was great. And it didn't really get into their identity. It didn't mess up their identity because we were making music that was cinematic and super creative. When they played live, it was actually fun that they had to then collapse all of these things to their instruments. So no, I'm not bound by it. It's like I'm just making creative records. So I hope that answers the question.
Nice. We have some question about the clarification about next project. So basically, do we create our own song from beginning, or we just take probably already known song and then recreate it with a new perspective?
Okay, do not do covers. I think it might have been obvious, but I'll just say it here. Guys, for the productions you're gonna make, which are gonna compete, do not do covers because the songwriting is done for you. Start from scratch. So you're gonna get the most out of this if you find somebody else's song. If you want to record your own, you could, but it's really tough. And the thing that I'm trying to get you guys to do is to, 1, interact with other people, and to embody how it feels, you caring for someone personally and then not caring for them. It's really hard to do on yourself. So my recommendations are do other people's songs, and my requirement is no covers.
Just to make sure, the next session is on August 18th, and I just throw that registration link in the chat box. Please register for the next session. We have 1 or 2 more.
Cool.
questions.
And Ray, if I may, just to say a couple of things on the next session, just to let you guys know, our next session is going to be, a good chunk of it is going to be listening to the 3 best productions that you guys submit. And it's going to be a lot of analysis. And I just want you to prepare, because what makes something excellent requires a lot of digging in, as you've seen. So it's going to be a lot of that. It's going to be some new content. And that is going to be the session where I really hope you guys just avalanche of questions. I want it to be a conversation. I want it to be, this is what I found doing this track through the process in the past. So know that it's not going to be so chock full and formal like this one. It's going to be a little bit looser, more of a back and forth. So I'm open to hearing the next one. Tell me what is the next one, Ray. Tell me.
All right. We have a couple more, but it's time
Yeah.
allows. Maybe we can go over one or two more, and then
Yeah.
people could probably reach out to us with their question. We can probably answer. One here I can see. In general, what would you recommend to produce Latin music, as well as high male voices?
That's a very broad question.
Yeah.
But I would say that for me, but it's applicable to anything, is when I say Latin music, what is Latin music? Because if Latin music is something that is, say, underlined by, or it has a through line of Latin rhythms, for example, then I would assess if it's the main job of this Latin style music to make people dance.
Le ponen tanto calor a la vez.
Sorry.
No.
So to me, guys, it's how to produce Latin music, how to produce metal, how to produce, it's understanding what are the core things about the vocabulary. And then, oh, sorry, Rodrigo, I think you might be unmuted or something, perhaps, I don't know. No, you're good, you're good. The answer very quickly is try to understand the vocabulary of your genre, try to check the boxes, and then innovate. Go forward, because if you're just checking the boxes, who cares? I hope that answers the question.
Right. We have one more here. Where can we find more information about all the characteristics that you told us, like aesthetics and sound, the production elements?
This, and I'll share my screen with you guys once again, and I invite you to take a screenshot of this. Because this, for my Berklee students here in Boston on campus, for my Berklee students online, really drilling to this stuff takes me 3 years. And I'm just trying to give you guys as much information as I can and plant the seed. So where could you find more of this stuff? I'd say just practice these things individually. So how can harmony change the feeling of something? If you have this.
Blue skies above me.
And everything is very consonant.
But I can't see a thing.
But you want more tension, here is how dissonance is going to give you tension.
Blue skies above me.
Listen to the piano coming up.
But I can't see a thing.
So that little piano, that sounds so creepy, is what gives it that tension. So what I invite you guys to do is to go and play with every one of these. And like any instrument, it takes time. What happens if you make the key higher or lower? Oh, the singer has to strain more, and therefore I believe them more because they have to suffer more through their singing. But I thought it was our job to just make sure that they can sing it. No, my job is for you, for me, for everyone to believe the words that you're saying. So I'm going to grab the key and push it and push it and push it until you're suffering. The song is about suffering. I will believe it more. Oh, the song is about being calm. Maybe we have to go the other way. So that's what I would say. Take all of these, practice them individually.
Cool. Folks, the matter of time, I'm sharing our the global program's email address. So you might probably send us your question that we could probably answer you later on. I'll probably take one more because of time.
Great.
Here, my question is about mentality that a producer needs to have always in the process. In some cases, when you are the producer, but also the songwriter or musician, do you think that is good to divorce from yourself as a songwriter to have a more clear point of view of the purpose of, or if it helps to keep your mentality as a songwriter to have a richer point of view of the purpose of the song and a more powerful connections with the soul of the song?
Awesome, thorough question. My answer to this, which we covered already, is I think it is crucial that you all establish as songwriters, as producers, as musicians. If you are even the bass player, a hired bass player for a production, I think you must have a deep, deep, deep understanding of what the song is about. You must have a personal, intimate connection with it. And then at the same time, completely divorce yourself from it and think if this was, I'm playing my bass and I love how I feel playing my bass. Think of the people that are going to listen to the song. Most people don't even know what a bass is. Think about it. 94% of the population has no idea what a bass is. So if you are getting a lot of value from your performance, think that whatever you do might help or distract the emotional point or blurry the emotional point of the song. So like I said before, for me, it's really important that you have an intimate emotional connection to it, as well as a completely divorced, looking at from outside perspective, and then have those two talk and negotiate. I hope that answers the question.
All right. So we have one question from our YouTube the viewer and
Oh,
about who is eligible to participate in the competition. So would say it has to be a student from Berklee Global Academic Partners. So we already reached out to your school officials about how to submit your project and everything. So you consult with your school, but it has to be students from our global academic partnership schools.
great.
Jason, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I mean, you can always go to berkeley.edu/global and click on the Global Partners link there, and you can see the list of schools. There's 25 global academic partners in the world, so if you're not studying at one of these schools, you might want to check that out, because that's kind of also the purpose of this presentation, is to get you introduced to these institutions. Many of them are led by, and many of the faculty members at these institutions are Berklee graduates, just like Enrique. I know our partners in Ecuador, there's a number there, there's a number in Korea, there's a number of them in Israel, so all over the planet, Colombia, Mexico. Be sure to check out these institutions. There's even a few here in the United States, and there's 4 in Canada. So this is a great opportunity for you to learn about these programs, to get in touch with your teachers and fellow students, and actually follow Enrique's guidelines here. You've got an opportunity to have your music showcased to this audience here, but also through our website at berkeley.edu. We're going to be sharing this with the world. So, you got some work ahead of you over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. And in closing, just to jump in, Jason, with what you're saying is, I'm going to ask you to embrace the work that you're about to do, and hopefully the repercussions that this is going to have on your future work. I'm going to say the obvious, but we have to say it. Guys, make it fun. Make it exciting. Make it to a point when you hit play, work so hard that when you hit play, you can't help but forget everything that you know. You forget every single bit of F sharp major, flat 5, 100 when you hit play, all of that goes away, and you just go back to being 10 years old, 12 years old, and moved emotionally. If you get your work to be that, which is tough to do, then you've done it. So strive to make things that move you, and that you are going to try to move people that you don't know. So with that in mind, I wish you the best, and I can't wait to see you again in some weeks and hear your work.
All right,
Cool.
so I just shared one last time with registration link and also our email address for the question about admissions, the competition, and other the production related question. Any last comments, Jason?
No, this has been, it's always a blast, Enrique, to hear you talk about music, to hear the work that you're doing. And this is truly a huge step forward for us, because we're not able to actually connect with people live and in person. man, this is the best, the best way for us to do this. For everybody that's out there, this is really cool for me as well, because I'm really looking forward to hearing the work that you do.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And it's great. This is an opportunity. We want to motivate you. We want to keep you creative. We hope everybody stays healthy and well and safe. And Enrique, any final words from you before we close out for today?
I must say thank you to you, Jason, and to you, Ray, because for all of you guys out there, this was a little thought baby that I had, where in talking to schools like EMAT in Colombia, like all the cool, awesome schools that we're affiliated with around the world, my heart really went out to, we should do more things together, especially in times like this. And I just want to thank you both for really supporting this and having us connected this way. And I love this stuff. So I hope it's the first of many that we do. And I'd love to see all of you guys here, and wish that we can just even make things that are bigger and things that are maybe more unique and small. So just that gratitude to everybody. Thank you so much.
Cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Ray, Valeria, Enrique, thank you all for your time today. Email us at globalprograms@berklee.edu if you have questions. And we look forward to seeing you at the next session for the art of production and hearing the wonderful music that's going to be created. Take care, everybody.
Looking forward to it. See you all.